way back in 1997, 98, 99, 2000. EU was quite very prominent platform. I don't know whether you were born during 1997, 98. You were born, or most of you were born, or am I too old? I don't know. If you are not born, then I'm too old. So even if I'm too old, I have not touched 40, so I'll consider it young phase. Right. We went to EU because, being the young kids then, we want to go to EU because we see the preacher speaking in English, we see the person talking and praying in English. So my friends and we are like, there is one church group in TBC, it happened in TBC. There is one young people, they sing English, they pray in English. So we were like, just wanted to see how they were praying, how they were singing, right? So we went there, and then we were so scared. I was so scared when I can relate it to my feeling. We were so scared when, what if they will ask us to come and sing English song? What if they will ask us to come and pray in English? That fear is also there. But the excitement to see them talking in English was like too good, alright? Like 2 decades ago, 20 years ago, Tamenglong English for our teachers were also speaking Manipuri and so it was like too underdeveloped period, So that's how I was introduced to EU, because it's not about Jesus or salvation, or it's nothing like that. Just because people speak English, we just want to go and see. So that's how I was introduced way back in my 8th, 9th. And by the time I hit the 10th grade, then I become a little mature also. And then one of our resource person to be our former president also will be coming and giving you the resource, giving you the class. He was the EU president then, and then Brother Tamenglong, our SDO, former SDO, elder sister, and we were best friends. So Brother Tamenglong says, why not you both come and join the camp, which is happening at Real Baptist Church. So we just thought, okay, fine, it's a good thing to go away from the house for 3 days, So that's how we joined the EU camp, and that's how I received salvation. That's how I received Jesus Christ as my personal Savior. So I received so much of blessing from the EU. To tell the truth, it is not from the church. Church becomes, everything. We go to the church, the pastor speak, and then it was, nothing much was happening. Now, okay, so many activities were also happening in the church, but I know God only through His EU ministry, so I received so much of blessing. Then I went out to study outside. And then 11th and 12th grade was like confined in a hostel. It was a very strict Hindu hostel, so I would not go out. Then when I come back to my graduation, then I was introduced to this EU thing again. So I received so much of blessing. But I never knew what actually is EU, the organization, how things are running, the ministry kind of setup. What is this EGF? I really don't know. Then during my graduation, I was there in EU for some time. Then I came back to hostel. I came out again, so time congestion, time problem was also there, so I could not involve actively, but I was also there. And I came back, I finished my post-graduation, I got married, I came back, and then I was posted at the Maran College again. And that's when I joined the EGF again. That's when I come to know what is EGF and all. So it is completely alright for all of us to not know in detail what is this EU thing going on. It is completely alright to not know in detail what is this EGF going on. Once you start participating, I am also still in learning, and you will also learn together. So, coming back to the aims of EGF, Evangelical Graduate Fellowship. So who are the EGF? The EGF are the people. It can be categorized into 2 categories. The first category is when you are doing your 10th grade or 12th grade. You are Evangelical Union students. So who are the graduates? Graduates are the people who represent ex-EU. The ex-EU, when they finish their graduation, they automatically become graduates. We call them Evangelical Graduate Fellowship, EGF. Or in simple terms, we call them graduates. So, graduate can be of 2 categories. You come from EU background in your 10th standard, in your 12th standard, you are introduced to this UESI ministry. Or simply after you become graduate, when you don't introduce to EU and all this ministry in your 10th and 12th grade, or perhaps even in your graduation also is fine. But once you become graduate, you're like kind of interested in this ministry. Like you want to do something for God ministry. Then that's when you will also automatically become graduates. Evangelical Graduate Fellowship, EGF, Evangelical Graduate Fellowship. So EGF has two categories. The first category is you are ex-EU member, and then when you finish your graduation, you become the graduates. Second category is you don't come across EU ministry in your 10th schooling, you don't come across EU ministry in your 12th grade schooling, you don't come across EU ministry in your graduation schooling is also fine. But once you become a graduate, you want to join this ministry, then you automatically become graduate again. So we have 8 aims. We have 8 aims. Then I think I may have to go down. The first aim is evangelical. It's good to write something, huh? Graduate Fellowship. So you will become graduate now. You become graduate by now. Aim of the EGF, the first aim is student ministry. So our focus is on student ministry. The first aim of the EGF is to support the student ministry. Now what is student ministry? Student ministry is the EU ministry. So EU ministry, Evangelical Union ministry. So we have to support the student ministry. So that's the first aim of the EGF. So when we say we have to support the student ministry, we focus only on Evangelical Union Ministry. So Evangelical Union Ministry has so many, now we have prayer cells for till 10th level we can give prayer cell, or even in 12th. So every high school and every higher secondary school have their own prayer cell. And then schools like my residential school has an EU setup. So if the school is like a residential school, then we go and set up Evangelical Union, EU itself. So in Tamenglong we have Eclavia Evangelical Union, and we have whole Tamenglong Union. So these are the student ministry. So EGF, as a graduate, once you become the graduate and you want to be part of the UESI ministry, then you have to go and support this ministry. Directly student ministry. What is student ministry? Then the EU. The EU has so many activities. They may have Bible camp, they may have their Bible study, they may have their outing, they may have their picnic, they may anything related. We have to support the student ministry. We have to support the ministry. That's the aim of the EGF. The second aim is fellowship. We have 8 aims, okay? So this is the second one, fellowship. So when we say the aim of EGF is fellowship, now when we say fellowship, students also have their own fellowship. Like for example, every Sunday they have their service. We have to encourage that activity also. Every week they have their Bible study. We have to encourage that activity also. And among the graduates also, we must have a fellowship. Among the graduates, among us also, we must have the fellowship, because it is a student ministry. So when, as a graduate, when you are not able to stand on your own feet, when you're not able, when you don't have, when the commitment between God and you is not strong, then you cannot shine the light to others. When you're so dark, then you cannot shine the light to others. So as a graduate, of course, the aim of the EGF is fellowship. The first thing should begin ourselves. we must also be able to, the faith, the connection between you and God has to be strong. See, now when this pandemic, when this COVID pandemic hits, the only problem that people faces is the breathing problem, because the lung got affected. So when you don't have a connection between God and you, when you don't have a prayerful life, when you don't practice quiet time, when you don't read your Bible regularly, then I'm not very strong. I do not have a strong relationship. My standard relationship with God is weak. I should be prayerful. I should be truthful. Then I should be it should be a role model actually. So the fellowship with God has to be correct first, has to be set right first. Then that light will shine outside. So the fellowship continues with among your EGF fellow members and also among the EU. So a fellowship does not mean that just praying together. No, we have, as a graduate, we have to set our standing with God right. So that's our second aim. The third aim is evangelism. The third aim is evangelism. Evangelism, Evangelical Union, Evangelical Graduate Fellowship. So the word evangelism is nothing but we have to try our level best to proclaim. See, there are so many Christians, like I said from my personal experience. I was born in Christian family. Then I am a very regular church goer. Then everything a Christian child has to do, I did. But I received my salvation only through this EU Bible, EU camp. So, to let the student know, to let the graduate know, to let student know Jesus Christ as their personal Savior should be the aim of EGF. So, evangelism means to let the student know Christ, to let people know Christ, to let the same graduate fellow know Christ, to let the student know Christ is evangelism, and that's one of the aim of EGF. The fourth aim is testimony. Testimony. I think this testimony is, if we have to live this testimony, if we have to follow this aim, it is not a very easy thing. I have one staff in my school. He is a Hindu guy, a Brahmin boy. He teaches Hindi subject, and he likes this chewing pan. He can chew pan in a day, 30 pans. He can chew 30 pans in a day, and the way he chew pan also very neat and tidy. There are some people when they chew pan, their lips will be reddish, and when they chew pan and talk, their saliva comes out. Imagine a person who chew 30 pans a day. But when you looked at him, his lips and everything will be tidy. You won't see reddishness. And when he chew pan, he will not talk. He's very decent. So one day, not one day, most of the time he used to ask me, "Madam, nang college the lage, school the lage hari pan krapuro." Right? So he used to debut that pan job. So aim of EGF is testimony. So the way we live our life as graduate is also very important. Once you become a graduate, once you're in this ministry, testimony is the way we live our life. It's not about I receive Jesus as my personal Savior and if I die, I go to heaven. No, it's not that testimony. So I cannot make him understand because the way he comes, the culture that he belongs to, cannot, when I try to say me buying a pan and standing in front of the pan shop, if it's not for me also, what if the EU students saw me buying pan? I cannot be going and explaining to him that I'm buying pan for my colleague. Oh, madam, ni pan to come again, So testimony of EGF, I think this testimony is very difficult to follow. but I think we have to do it. And then, that is simple example. So I have to think twice. What if the EU students saw me? Or what if the fellow graduates saw me? I have to live my life as a testimony of what I practiced. So many thoughts run to my mind when he gave me that. He possessed me. It's like, no, something like that. So I used to ask my driver or some cousin brother of mine to go and buy, and while I wait for him, and he used to give me. So the testimony of how we live our life among the graduates, among the EU student, among the student is very important. I think I have another short role in next session also. I'll go deep into that. So we have to live our Christian faith. Once you become the graduate, you have to live the Christian faith, and that is the testimony. The fifth one is missing. How many time I still have? 15 minutes. So mission. Mission is about, again, it's a little interrelated with evangelism. We have to let students know about the salvation, and then God also command each and every one of us in Matthew. God command each and every one of us, once you receive the salvation, we have to go and tell the other people that yes, I received the salvation, and you have to let others know. So aim of EGF is also mission. Mission is not just giving to God your money, your tithe, your time, your produce. Not only that, but we also have to practice mission in our life by letting the student know that salvation is there, by letting the student know that we have to practice what we preach, we have to give out, we have to, what you have received, you have to let the other fellow graduate receive. So that is mission. And the sixth one is our Christian home. This is our sixth aim, Christian home. Aim of the EGF Christian home, we have to practice Christian home. Here we mean open home also. Sometimes we say open home. This also should be one of the aim, open home. When I was briefly involving in EU ministry in Chennai, there was one family. They used to do Bible study. Maybe the EGF used to do Bible study, and once in a while they used to combine student and they used to do the Bible study. I did Bible study 4 times or 5 times only in my graduation. So once we had a combined Bible study, and there was one particular couple who also come that day, and then in Chennai during that time there was not many Northeast, like few Northeast were there. So when I came, they were like very, they were like very willing to talk to me. Like they wanted to know whether I face any problem, what kind of family background I come from. They were like really interested in my welfare. And once they invited me home for dinner, and they came to my hostel, they picked me up, and I went to their house. It was my first time me visiting a palace, okay? When I met them like 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, they were so simple. They don't look as if they were big guy and big lady. So down to earth and all that, and I sat in their car, and Chennai is such a hot place, and I went in their AC car, and I feel so cool. And then I went to their house. It was like me visiting a palace. So good. It was like, I don't know, it's just like a 5-star residence, They have swimming pool, and then they have like behind the house they have this polo. You can play golf, It was like little outskirt and all that. So, that couple impressed me so much. But when they talk to you, I'm a tiny girl coming from a small village, what do they benefit, what they will benefit by taking me home. But nowadays, they're practicing this Christian home. They took me home, they made me comfortable, they're like talking to me, they're like, they give importance to me, they are like one. No, it's like they love me so much. So as a graduate, I think we must have this Christian home. Not just giving me lavishly whatever I want to eat because they are rich. It's not like that. As husband and wife, not necessarily that graduate should be always husband and wife, but eventually you all will also enter into family life. So as easier, we also should have this open home. Anybody should be able to come to our house, and then as husband and wife, we must be able to live our life. As husband and wife, they were like loving each other so much, respecting each other so much, despite their, being big caliber. So that's the lesson they taught me. They opened the house at like whenever you want to come home, weekend you want to come and stay, you can come and sleep in this room. So big open. Though I'm coming from a small town girl, what benefits they will get by talking to me? They are practicing their Christian faith. So as easier, I think we must make this open home. How much ever big you are, eventually when you grow up in your life and you're successful in your career also, you have to come down to that level. That is one thing of this year. And then church. As easier, we must, as graduate, we must actively involve in our church also. Our brother Rezoni is the TPC secretary, right? Secretary is actively involved there, and he's also the graduate. And then, as graduate, you may have singing, song practice. You may have your, one of your church members died. You have to be there, or one of your church members have to get married. You have to be there, or your helping the pastor. Any church activities, easier is to be collaborating with the church. You must help the church in the best capacity you can. And the eighth one is your social concern. Social concern. So as graduate, not just randomly doing Bible study, not just helping the student, or not just sharing the EU service. The EU people ask you to come and share the service, not just presenting a sermon in one Sunday and it's gone. Not like that. You have to have social concern also. For example, if we are observing Earth's Environmental Day, say for example, Earth's Environmental Day, you must also have a social concern. So Earth's Environmental Day, then you have to encourage the student to participate in the seminar or the activities that is going on in the society level. So you must also have a social concern as graduate. So not just these EU activities and stuff like that. For example, River Day is being observed. You must also encourage the student, the EU. And not only you encouraging the student, you must also be proactively involved in what is happening in the society. Say, for example, the Tamenglong law is banned. So as a concerned citizen, as a graduate who knows God, as a graduate who believes in equality, who believes in justice, you must voice your voice, you must give your voice in public forum, wherever it is necessary, not just watching from your phone or not just looking, not just a mere spectator. You must also have a social concern. So these are the 8 aims of EGF. You and I have to be, we must practice. So it's okay if we cannot practice all in one go, but these are the aims that we must keep in mind. If UPSI ministry has to be, flourished, if the ministry has to be extended, if the ministry should be successful, then as graduate, these are the aims that we must